Yeah, 104. That's what I mean. 100 plus because 100 you go live, right?
Can you hear me in my microphone though?
Yeah, no, you sound good. You got that bass, Ryan.
I have a good deep voice. I feel like I get feedback through my mic though.
Yeah, that late night.
I don't know why.
Late night DJ. Ron just comes naturally with it. We're here tonight.
I'm not coming out with anything.
That midnight hour.
Don't feel good enough to. Hi, Keeler.
Hello, Ryan. The excluded middle, Ryan. Coming at you live.
I feel like we're talking quiet. We're talking quiet today.
Yeah, well, I got the mic. We got the headphones now, so now I can kind of adjust my voice accordingly. So
that helps.
We'll see how it goes. You said it.
Tell me if I'm yelling.
It helps.
It does help.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we, you know how dreams work? Not very good sometimes. Sometimes I have to decide if I was just having, don't switch. If I was having a dream that's for information to be used at a later date or right now, whatever it is, or if I'm just dreaming, right? Because it's something I want. So the podcast was a dream, right? Here we sit. But then we expand on those dreams, right? What's next? And so there's learning curves. And so this new soundboard, definitely, even though it's very basic, it's too tough for me.
And speaking of dreams, we could spin it another way. It'd be like just prayer. You know what I mean? Like we are here today, just based off the prayers of ourselves, based off the prayers of others.
Yeah, well, I prayed for the podcast.
I mean, yeah, I did too. And then like where we are now, like even in on the collective whole as a society, we are just basically at the point of prayers from those previously passed. You know, those prayers.
Oh yeah.
So we're just living.
We're just a collection of series of
prayers
of
our grandmas and their grandmas and their grandmas, grandpas. You know, all the prayer warriors before us. You know what I mean?
Well, so I never met my great grandpa, of course. My dad never met his grandpa. He passed away before Dad even got here. But what I'm getting at is, I'm sure he probably prayed for his generations to come, right? Mm-hmm. I know that my grandpa and grandma prayed for me. I met them. I was probably in my near 20 when they started passing away. So they saw me at my worst, you know. Now I will say my grandpa, when he died, I was sober in my 20s for a little while. And so, I guess he, you know, kind of had, probably an easier time towards the end. Grandma was probably still pretty stressed out. You know, I pretended to be good. I'm like, Grandma, I'm fine. She's like, you smell like whiskey.
You smell like whiskey, son.
So that ain't whiskey. That's my cologne. She's like, your eyes are bloodshot and you need to shave. Good. They were good people. Really, they were.
You know, on prayers too, man. Like I think I've mentioned this before in other podcasts as well. But I mean, I pray steadily for the generations that come after me, and I go pretty strong to the 5th generation. And then then I get after that 5th generation, then I get a little bit more generic with it, you know, then the generations to come or something along those lines. But I pray pretty diligently for the next generation, the 3rd generation, the 4th generation, and then up to the 5th generation. And then, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Man.
I even have an asterisk for the 5th generation.
Yeah. To stop?
No, just
because it matters. Yeah. You think we'll get there?
But I think it all matters. So.
Well, how long what's a generation? 25 years or so, you think?
Oh, no. I figure a generation would be like 100 years.
Well, you're talking about generational lines. So about what's the average time to have your first kid? I would say around 25.
That's 25 years, 30 years.
So 5 generations.
But as we grow, those generations are changing because people aren't even having kids now until they're older, really.
Well, that's a whole different. We could do a 5-hour podcast just on that.
Yeah.
I've been wanting you to talk about conspiracy theories, and you haven't bit yet. But we're going to talk about prayer. But no, I mean, hear me out on this. So we're looking at 5th generation. Roughly, that baby would be born in 125 years. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Dude.
Someone posed a question to me the other day. Do you think that we will see Christ return? So depending on your theology, and we did just talk about this a little bit, and I don't want to cover that, but let's say in Scripture it talks about different things that will happen leading up to it. Some of them disastrous things, right? Okay, times will be very tough. Now, when I think of tough, I'm like, what does that look like for people that experience other things? So, like, let's even go back to Bible times before Christ, where they're supposed to be waiting for a Messiah to come and save them. Obviously, is the point of. But what was their toughness like when they were, up against it in Egypt or is right? You see what I'm saying? So then, like, I felt like as Americans, we were tried for toughness at COVID. You know what I mean? Things were weird, right? Normal didn't exist anymore. It was a tough time. They talk about it in the news. So then I go back. Well, what about World War II and the 40s? What about Vietnam? What about all these things that we've been up against? And then I go back and look too and see like what else was going on. What was the church doing at these times? You know what I'm saying? Like, were there other shifts happening that were influencing some of the bad stuff that goes on? So yeah, I don't know. I used to think the same way. Pray down generations. I think I have great concern for my grandkids that exist right now. And you could say, well, that's because they exist right now, right? Because you've gotten them and you love them and you would be concerned for them because they're your grandkids. But I look at that like from a dual place of I'm concerned of the world around them, of how tough it's going to be for them to stay on the narrow road.
Yeah.
The influence that people have.
Like just the deceit in general.
Yeah. I don't even know how you stay away from it. And I mean, I think I'm going to be all over the place, but
I mean, do you do like the Amish do and just completely cut out the world or try to your very best? You know what I mean? Stick to the buggies. But like you were saying too, well, I guess you didn't say it on here, but at one time in
those were of the world.
Yeah, those were of the world because the buggies was the vehicle.
Less of the world than
but they just stay. Yeah, they just stay.
It's about heart condition, obviously. Yeah. I've seen some pretty flashy buggies with like perfectly laid velvet purple seat covers and black buttons on. I mean, I've seen some really extravagant inside. And they take pride in it, sure, whatever. I would have had the buggy with the wheels that were different sizes, bro.
With the spinners on it.
I wouldn't even, maybe one spinner. Maybe one. Be like, oh, Jerky, you better repair the top of that thing. I don't take very good care of my stuff. I really don't. And I don't know. It's not for a lack of appreciation. I mean, I try to manage well sometimes with stuff, but we had talked about like legacy and different things and how we hand on stuff. And Trisha and I were involved in a conversation a couple of weeks ago that kind of talked about like how genealogy and how bloodlines and names and there's different factors to it. And it really did make me pause for a second and think of like, I'm 45. I don't even want to offer a conjecture on how long I think I'll live. Right. At one time, I didn't think I would live to be this long. So now it makes me appreciate my days more. And my youngest grandkid that's on the floor right now is a year old. So there's 45 years separating me. If I live to be 90, that kid will be 45, right? So I think in my head, technology never seemed to affect my grandparents, but it affected my dad.
Yeah.
When he started his job, he was an accountant. Everything was on paper. They didn't really have like computers. I mean, I'd walk in his office and it was just stacks of damn papers, dude, everywhere.
Yeah. File cabinets, desk, man. Right?
Yes. Ledgers Post-its. And ledgers and ledgers. Yeah. He didn't have Post-its. Everything was numbers. Yeah. But and then strings and strings. I mean, God, you get on the other side of his desk on the floor and there's just mountains of ribbon of then it shifts to computer. So we had to learn those things. My grandparents' technology. But I watched the influence of how much it's influenced my life. Like I didn't have a cell phone until I was a teenager, and it literally would only call people. You couldn't even text on that originally. Just saying. And now the way information spreads so quickly, it just makes me pause, and it does. I mean, and that's a whole, we could talk about that for 5 hours, but I think the important part, and you hit on it, is the prayer part. How we lead that out. It's hard to, when you sit down to pray, do you ever get to this point where it's like, I don't want to say that it's exhausting, and I chuckle about this now because I got that thing for the prayer request, but like, how do I add more to my list? How do I pray for my kids that are struggling, and then also find time to pray for the discord that's happening in the Middle East? That does matter, right? People are going to die. America's involved. Take that out of it. People are going to die. It's happening everywhere. I get that, but where do you find the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily look at trying to increase my prayer list. I just try to more or less focus around the increase of my getting to know God even better. You know what I mean? Building that relationship, getting to know Christ better, leading towards that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily increasing, my request and, all that. I don't get wrapped up into that necessarily. Although I do, like I said, I guess I do to a point, but I guess I have those based off importance the way I see it. You know what I mean?
Well, your important, my important is vastly different.
Yeah. And God, but then how you look at it, like what's important to me is that even important to God?
Let me offer a clarifier to that. Our importance of our commitment to God is on parallel course here. I'm not disputing that, but what are things outside of that? I get, before we got on here and we were talking, what are we going to talk about? And to your defense, you said, I don't even really know what's going on outside in the world.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I encounter for various reasons don't. Now, I pay a lot of attention, and I joked about it yesterday even, probably, but I don't watch sports. I don't get into it anymore, but I do watch C-SPAN.
Yeah, and
I don't even vote.
Yeah, then I don't.
Now, what I will say to defend myself is, I love good comedies, and I have seen some of the best humor on the people that we vote for, that make the decisions on how I live my life, or how I am, not how I live my life, but my expectation of being an American, how I should live. And it cracks me up, dude. There's a couple senators right now. I'm not going to say which side of the aisle they're on, because I don't want people to be upset with me, because I like them all. But dude, they're funny.
See, and that's probably why I stay tuned out of that, Ryan, because I don't really care how you tell me to live. You know what I mean? That doesn't really concern me at all, of like what they're doing or how they're doing it, because I'm just going to continue to live how God's directed me.
So there's two things that happen,
you know what
though.
I mean? Like,
when I watch this, what I recognize is, oh my God, people voted for this, right? In different places of the nation. Yeah. But for me, that's a secondary thing to what happens while I watch it. I watch it because it's funny.
It is hilarious.
I stumbled onto some stuff about 12 years ago, and it's a senator from Georgia, and I don't even know how this dude's still a senator, and here we are down the rabbit hole. But he's in a session, and they have this like fancy Navy guy. They're asking questions. They're talking about Guam, and the dude gives all these dimensions. And he says, I don't know. He goes, we're putting all these people there. And he goes, at some point, they're going to get too many people over here on this one side, and that island is going to tip over. And this dude's dead serious. And this high up Navy admiral has to respond to this. And you could just see him, he like hits his mute button. He sits back. And people, you can hear people in the background snickering and over the silence. And he just leans back up and hits his mic in the most professional way. He says, sir, I don't think we have to worry about that happening. Mutes his mic. And this guy's from Georgia, and it has nothing to do. He's a Democrat, I will say that, because that part does crack me up. But how is he still, this many years later? I mean,
people are voting for him, Ryan.
Doesn't that not speak to intelligence?
Yeah, people are voting for the guy.
Isn't that more than common sense?
I don't know, man.
Is there not a reason to be concerned about it? I don't even vote, dude.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't even vote.
I don't either. And now but also it's entertaining. But I tune in a little bit here and there. I'll turn it on. But man, anymore recently, it's just been sickening to me.
But
man.
You're going to hear some stuff.
What's going on?
Even when you listen to 3 of 7, you're going to hear. Some
that's
stuff.
what I mean. Yeah, and I do tune in on occasions, man. So yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. I haven't tuned in it's been a while.
Yeah. most of my information that I value,
just because it's sickening to me, man.
It is sickening.
I'm just like, I just tuned it off, man.
But listen, hear me out on this.
Like, it makes me want to just like, you guys are gross.
In the scheme of things, Family Guy is sickening, but it's still funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in a different sense. Like, that's just cartoons. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm saying, like, real life stuff, like what's really
it's a clown show,
like
dude.
what's going on, and like what they're like just like it speaks, like I come across just like children and just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's all bad. It's all bad.
That's what I mean.
It's like, all bad.
It's like, whoa, what's wrong with you people?
And it's been on my mind a lot because of yesterday doing the teaching on like facing the world. So over the last, 3 weeks or whatever it's been, I knew that I was going to be doing it. And so I've been thinking about like, what does this look like? And it really, I mean, I love how all this stuff just circles back together. So it's like, man, well, now that I think I should be praying for the 50th generation possibly, because we don't know, how's this existence look? Do we get to the 5th generation? Doesn't matter.
And then I think also on that note, I think that just speaks to always be in preparation. Like, we don't know the coming, you know what I mean? And I bet every generation before us probably really thought they were going to see, the return of Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, they were going to be there for that. And, but that also speaks to how prepared you should be. Like, you have to have that in your head. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Christ is coming, at the unknown hour, you know what I mean? Like a thief in the night. So it's like, you always have to be ready. So, but at the same time, you have to be in preparation, and you also should be praying for those generations after us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, because it is going to get harder. Like like we've mentioned on previous shows, like the enemy time is almost on that enemy side. You know what I mean? As far as deceiving people, you know what I mean? Like, you can make these small little tweaks in how we do things and what's right, what's wrong, and totally start twisting that, but you can twist it over 100 years of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 500 years of time. You can
there's
slowly twist it.
In the scheme of good and bad.
Manipulating and twisting things, you know what I mean? Over a long period of time, it makes it easier to do.
Yeah. The extremes have always existed. It's just we notice them a lot more and quicker now, and people are more opinionated because, before, like, if you offered your opinion, like, how did you get that information out? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It started with your family. You would offer the opinion, and then maybe a group of friends. But now I can affect 1,000 people with my opinion, possibly on Facebook. I have 1,000 Facebook friends.
Right.
So I'm just saying, I take information in the same way, though, right? Yeah. And it does. It's weird how it affects you.
And you think with being tapped into so much information, like you would actually be smarter, or to be more intellectual, or just you would have more of a sense. But it does not.
The information you take
does not seem to work that way.
You're taking in.
I got one.
You're taking in bullshit information mostly.
Yeah.
Do I really give a rip about what so and so's doing? No. I watched this deal the other day, and it's like how people interact, and it kind of was talking about social structure, and it's interesting to our channel because of the excluded middle, the idea behind the social structure. But we're created to have about 150 interactions with people. Now, obviously, the top 10 or 15 are people that are very close. 140 is people that we don't know that well. But when we get beyond that, it stresses us out. And so then he immediately references Facebook, and he pulls his up, and this dude's got like the maximum you can have without being like a digital creator or something's 5,000 friends. And so this is like, he's like, this is my Facebook from 2021. I maxed it out at 5,000 friends. Here's my current page. I have 247,000 followers. Right. And he goes, about 100,000 of them like to give their opinion. And he goes, I could let that affect me. Some people do. Or I could be like, man, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm going to go to bed tonight the same way I did last. There's those things. But over time, I don't give a crap. You see it over and over and over again. Now, two things happen. You either quit paying attention and you just gloss over it, or you turn your comments off, or you do keep reading them. You keep reading them. And over time, I'm telling you, and you can read it, I mean, over and over, it will start weighing on you, and it'll start swaying the way you've talked about it more than anything, of what comes out of our mouth is our like
begins to create.
pre-existence.
Yeah, it begins to create.
And that's not a creative power that says tree grow. That's not what it's talking about.
No, it just begins to put things in motion, man.
Yeah.
Things around you, like you begin to attract such things.
Yep.
And
You start speaking negativity,
and and
you breed negativity.
And I just want to circle back to the knowledge thing. You know how we're tapped into so much knowledge and so much information, but it's almost counterproductive. So that takes me back to the very beginning of time when God was like, "Hey, don't eat off the tree of knowledge," and then we eat off the tree of knowledge, and then it puts us in
going back. To the damn tree.
Then it puts us in this spiral. Well, here we are again today. You know what I mean? Tapping into all that knowledge. You know what I mean? That you're saying that majority of it's just BS, but it begins to affect you. So it's like maybe we should take that in consideration and maybe back off on some of that. You know what I mean? Like we don't necessarily need all that input. And then, like we said too, like I know what's going on in my community. Yeah. You know what I mean? You asked me about the community. I kind of know what's going on with people.
Oh, absolutely.
Relate to.
Yeah.
Like you're saying sports, like I'm familiar with, like, you know what I mean? The young men doing great things in athletics, you know what I mean? Around the area. Like I pay
local
attention
stuff
to that.
That's
what I mean. And like,
now I'm not driving out to watch any of that. And I don't even know.
Well, you don't necessarily have to drive. You just tune into your, like, you know, your local news.
I read the newspaper
local,
every day.
Yeah, your local athletics, or you just like, you know what I mean? The grades, they post grades out, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And
if I don't,
speaking of youngsters, anyway,
if I don't see it on Hutch Post, definitely the parents that are proud will be for sure sharing that, and I love that part.
Yeah, or they start driving around, you start seeing them, and like, you know what I mean, like
that part's scary.
Yeah, dude. but you're in tune with your local community, man. And I think that's where it's at, and that's where you kind of should be. Really, I don't think we were really necessarily meant to know everything that's going on around the world at any given time.
Now, you know? All the time.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right? Yeah. So you think about input, like when the radio first came around, and like I think honestly, and I could be totally wrong, and I'm just trying to like rack my brain to think around this, but I feel like early on in the radio that it was all talk. They didn't have music, right? And they I mean, I guess they probably did try, but it sounded terrible. But church stuff got played more than anything, right? I mean, it was like Sunday morning. Even when I was a kid, you could listen. Any local radio station had a church on, various churches on in the morning.
Oh yeah, dude, I used to get mad. That. Yeah, I used to get mad the station, trying to find a good song.
Turn it on to KSKU to listen to some pop music. And it was, you know, the West Side Baptist or something. And then you go to this one, and it was Eastwood, you know.
I remember that.
Which now, then I bitched about it then. And now I'm like, man, unless you pay for a channel on Sirius, which some people do. I know they do. But even the Christian worship music station doesn't have like a format that says we're going to do a 30-minute service here. Their format is different on Sunday, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's weird how that man. So sometimes when we sit down, we actually have a point to talk about stuff, and sometimes when we sit down, the majority of the time we just talk. But
well, I think we've had some good points here today.
No, dude, sure. I know, but when I think through just what we talked about, I'm like, man, we should really come back and talk about this part, and we should really come back and talk about this part.
Oh yeah.
And I know when we were like running through stuff, to not know what's going on in the world isn't a bad thing. I think that there are people that God has ministered to, that is their job. Don't get me wrong. And I think that God has ministered to people to go into politics. I just think that once that they become a part of that machine, that very few, and I mean like almost none of them, are really prepared
for that stronghold.
For
you know
that,
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I would point it, man. It's just like, because
every tiny crack that's going to be there is going to be really attacked.
It's going to be infiltrated to its utmost fullest. You know what I mean? Because you're changing the world to a point, like on a big scale. So it's like, I think,
and Satan's going to use.
Yeah, I think both sides would be pretty heavily involved on that front, and the enemy would be, you know, of the utmost, like trying to get in. And like you said, any little crevice or crack, man, he's coming in hard. I would think, man.
I mean, to run down and
really checks a person's integrity, I would think.
there's always a lot going on, and there always has been.
Yeah.
But like I said, now the way that freely travel of information and how you get it matters. I think how you get it matters, and how you weigh it and it does. Trust me.
And maybe they get a little taste of that power, man.
Well, I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, and then that, then that ego's not in check, or they think it is, but then it starts like.
I mean, the book says not many of you should do that.
Yeah, so it's like it makes things.
But I think about that too. Even getting up yesterday, like when I first kind of came back and got in recovery and had opportunities to kind of step into that leadership and teaching role, I was very hesitant. And people are like, "Oh, you're so good at it." I said, "Well, I can be good at it and not do it from this aspect. Like, I can do it from just 12 steps. I can do it from just like this is how you do this. I mean, whatever it is, I can learn it and do it. Fine." But now we're talking about people's eternal life that's at stake. And then in James, it says, not many of you should do this. And then it says, why? Because you're going to be held to a higher standard of judgment. And now I've walked into that. And once you do it, there ain't no turning back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then as we sit here on this and take a public profile role, anybody could watch this. We offer information. Some of it's testimonial. Some of it's mostly opinion. Very, very few times are we actually getting on here and being talking about something that's that straightforward, right? That has a yes or no answer anymore.
Right.
But there's still a truth that resounds around it, of course. I mean, the world's a dark place right now. Is it any darker than it was 1,000 years ago? I don't think so in certain aspects. I just think that we know about it better.
Yeah.
Or for worse, whatever that is.
Yeah. I think, just, darkness coming to light.
Yeah.
Is that what they like to say? I've heard that, darkness coming to light.
Yeah.
Are the lights shining on the darkness?
Exposes the darkness.
Yeah,
it exposes the darkness.
Yeah, maybe it's a dark night of the soul for everybody.
But the light can infiltrate the darkness is the thing, right? Yeah. I've been watching this show where they're up in the north, and so for a lot of the year, it's either all sunlight, and boy, they like to have fun when it's all sunlight. I mean, for days at a time. But then for part of the year, it's all darkness. The sun doesn't come up, and they're all depressed, and all these things are happening. Just watching the show makes you depressed when it's all darkness, right?
Is this what, Alaska?
They're in Canada, north of the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
And so but then there's these times of beauty, like with the Northern Lights and different things, which you can only experience in darkness. But here this light comes, right? I mean, so it's like this great analogy or whatever the word would be of how you could look at that. But in that darkness is a lot of despair and displeasure, and you're in your head and the cracks that were there. Boy, that darkness gets in them. But then now all of a sudden it's sunlight 24 hours a day and everybody's happy. Now, sometimes overly happy, maybe badly happy, temporarily happy, whatever you want to say. But the light's there and there's some joy there, right? And I don't know. I try not to get hung up in it too much. And that's why I like having you around, because you don't get hung up in it. You just don't allow yourself to be there. And I don't know that I'm the person that's supposed to take in this information. But I find myself getting asked lots of questions, and then I have to dig for an answer, right?
Yeah. So you have too much darkness, it's bad. You have too much light.
It's good.
You have too much light, though. You get a little bit more too zealous, I guess. You have a little bit too much fun.
Both well,
right? So then it would be. just a matter of
the darkness is coming back.
Yeah, but it would be just a matter of balance, maybe. And then if you really think about it, even in the darkness, God's there and is the light. So even in the dark spot we could be in, it's not even that dark because God's right there. So it's actually not even darkness.
And if we're living a balanced life, we don't recognize it as that, right?
Yeah. You just right up next to, you're balanced. You're right up next to Christ, walking with God. You know what I mean? Feeling in tune, feeling good, looking good, moving good. Everything is good. All is working for the good, right? All is working for the good.
The book says it always is.
Yeah, that's why I don't get too involved with it too, really, because I know
I'm not involved.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that's why I don't even really tune into a lot of it. Yeah, just because I know at the end game, it's all working out for the greater good, man, and God's coming through, and I'll be just fine. We don't die. I'm not going to die. I'm just going to change addresses.
When someone calls me and says, oh man, this is really bothering me. Okay, what's bothering you? And then when I find out it's something that's like way out of our control, but I understand, so then it's like, all right, well, I'll watch this, whatever it is. And so yeah, it makes it from a local and state aspect. I mean, there's times where it's just like, I don't even want to go down. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know why this is the way it is, and it's such a frustrating thing. And it does bring a recognition of, that's why it makes what we do with our time in prayer even more important, because, I don't like a lot of the leaders that are voted in, but I should still constantly be praying for them.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%. You should.
And I don't know about by name. I only know a few of the senators, the real funny ones. I know, like us. I mean, I know their name for sure because I even subscribe to their YouTube channel probably. But some of them are good, dude. I like, man, were you a stand-up comedian in a previous life? Because that was good. Yeah, sometimes they're funny when they're picking on each other, but I don't like that. That does make me. I'm like, you could have done without saying that, Yeah. But yeah, some of it does crack me up. I mean, how's Guam's going to tip over? I mean, how do you get away from that? That's perfect. That's
hilarious. Tip over.
I thought it was fake news, man. That's what I thought.
I would think he was just kidding.
He was dead serious. I watched so much stuff on it to get to the truth because I had to know. But old Hank Johnson, boy, I mean, you're still out there. I know you are. I watched it yesterday.
You probably took the advice of the wrong scientists on that one.
I don't think. I don't even know what this dude does, but man, he's a character. He's funny. And I try not to watch anything too serious, but there is real truth. I think there is real truth. I think it's so hard for me to get behind an idea that some will never see that truth. You know what I mean? It's even harder.
The spirit of slumber is upon them.
Dude, I know when you said that today, I was like, I don't even want to go down there. I don't want to think like that. It's harder for me to see the ones that tasted the truth and then walked away too, which I'm susceptible to that. Who knows? I mean, only God knows, but
I think once you see the truth, though, it's impossible to walk away. It makes it a
lot harder. It does. Yeah. It makes it a lot harder. Honestly, the other day, I had a moment where I was like, kind of feeling a type of way, and I was like, I recognized in myself patterns of behaviors that happen, and I was like, I feel like getting messed up. And I'm talking about like on cocaine, and it was fleeting.
Yeah, see, I don't have those really anymore, man.
Yeah, I can't even say, like I said, in that moment, it was on a day. Time. That's why, I haven't done it in over 8 years, but it was one of those things too, where I can go back and I can say way before the thought of like, I would party today. You know what I mean? Came way early on in the morning. One of my thoughts after trying to put some fires out, not even for things in my life, was, what's the point?
Man.
Like, I am tired. I'm exhausted. I was, like, seemed like every night last week, it was all night long. Text from, I'm like, do you people ever sleep?
Man, see, because I put in like so much work, is like physically, you know what I mean? So it's like, man, I am just exhausted by the end of the day. Man, I just lay down and I'm out, man. Yeah. For the most part. I mean, I'll have my nights sometimes where I'm not like that, but for the most part, I'm just so sore and just needing rest. Like my body's, I mean, hurting for recovery just because I've exhausted so much energy throughout the day. Yeah. Like by the time I get there, it's just like, I'm just done, man.
Some of the time I'm like, God, I recognize, like, because of where I'm at with various reasons. I mean, some of the people don't have anybody. I recognize that. And I willingly say, night or day, I'll walk with you. I get that. But then there's also times where it's something happens. So then there's an increase of that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this week's been that week. Lot going on. Even in our tiny circle.
Yeah, and see, my phone's off though. Like my phone's silenced.
Yeah.
at like, I think
My phone's always silent.
at like 11 p.m. Like, and even if it's not silence, man, I mean, the chance of me coming out of a sleep is pretty tough.
I'm up and down a lot, and so
But you better call my wife's phone if it's an emergency.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll probably start with KC.
Yeah.
He would be way more likely to be awake than anybody.
Yeah. Because I'm sleeping. That's for sure.
There are times I don't know. I mean, and I keep a weird schedule because I'm not working 8 to 5. But even if I was, I can go back and look. Well, Monday night, yeah, I probably would have been up all night and then struggled through work, or whatever. Thursday night, Friday night, definitely. I mean, Friday night was multiple people, and but there was a devastating accident that happened. Where there's loss of life and 2 loss of life involved. And so then, yeah, I'm like, how do you not know what's going on in the world?
Yeah, well, I know about that. Yeah. That's community.
Some people don't, though.
That's local
in the community.
Yeah, but see, that's community. That. I knew about that. For sure. I know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm more in tune with what's going on
in the
around
big world, which I think is worth talking about at some point. But we're getting ready to go to war. Not that we haven't been involved in a bunch of wars, but we're getting ready to be involved in a major war with Iran. And so I think that's sad. I get it that it happens, but I just don't like the idea of people dying. And then it's hard for me to get around the idea of that there has to be a loss of life involved on a minimal level to preservation of life on a maximum level, right? Because now we got bad people that are killing other people. So now we got to kill the bad people.
Yeah, and see what? Yeah, I don't know, man. And I'd be like,
why? Because we can't just put them in prison.
I would be like, why would we?
Because they'll fight to the death.
And like that's clear across on the other side of the world. Like we almost at times, I think we just get involved in too much, man.
Well, we do because we have a vested financial interest everywhere. Yeah. If we were totally self-sufficient, like the America the cult, and not have foreign affairs. Yeah. If we could produce and provide, and it's not even that. If we weren't so bad about, oh, look at those people over there. Look what they got. We don't have that. Yeah. And instead of creating ourselves, we're like, well, we'll just buy theirs.
Yeah, we'll just take that.
So yeah, but being content with what you have. Yeah. I mean, this whole computer that didn't even really use. I did read a few things while I was on here. Nothing newsworthy though. Don't worry. I was just like reading some notes I took throughout the week. It came from China or Japan or wherever, and I don't know. I'd hate to see what the American version of an HP would look like. It should be jacked up, man.
Yeah, but that's just coexisting right there, which we should do. You know what I mean?
Coexisting is one thing, but having the vested interest so much so that you got to.
Cool, you make awesome computers. Let's get on board with that, man. We'll buy some of those. Free market.
But that's what we did.
That's kind of free market. But yeah, but that's
right.
good.
But now what they're saying is, okay, we're going to leverage this against you.
That's what I mean.
And since you trade with us and those guys don't, we don't like them. Now you don't like them either, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's where it gets off tilt.
And America's like this up here with few others, very small amount, and then all this trickles down.
Yeah.
And I pay attention to that stuff. I really do. But it does hurt my heart a lot, and there's just a lot going on. You turn on the local news and it's just like, bleh,
Yeah. Well, that's just them trying to control things.
Oh, it's all propaganda.
That's what I mean. You start trying to control things. That's where it gets off tilt.
Yeah.
That's where that power comes in.
I watched some.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Starts jacking with their morality, morals. You know what I mean? Integrity.
I watched some faith-based.
It's podcasts. Compromise. It's when you find out if people can get compromised or not. Find out pretty quick.
It's where you have to test yourself to see if you're compromised.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Even in scripture, I mean, I have friends that they really love a Jesus. You know what I mean? But it's like this one that they made up, and they're such good people. But I say, and it's a recovery Jesus, right? You know what I mean? And I don't know. I'm not even talking on a salvation part. I'm talking about a peace and joy stand part. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't ever see them experience really true peace or joy.
Oh yeah.
But they love Jesus, the one that they made up from a different book, Yeah. And I'm not knocking AA.
Yeah. Point. Yeah, I like AA, man.
I love it. Yeah. It's what put me back on a path to find Jesus.
I like their 12 steps too, man. I think that was a lot. There was a lot of spiritual, divine
inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With that, man.
Well, I could give you a history lesson sometime on it.
Yeah.
There's a book back here.
Yeah, I know
read.
you could, right?
Yeah. Read your Bible first, though.
Yeah.
Read your Bible first.
Well, it's wrapped around that, anyways. Really.
You can definitely see the influence for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely has this. I mean, when you talk about spiritual things, right? We're talking about spiritual things. I have a number of spiritual books that aren't scriptural. I have some books on just breathing. Now, it's really pushing it for me to have, right? You know, I feel about that stuff. It's a little new agey.
It's all what call.
I had a conversation.
I'd say they've been doing that for a long time.
I know. So, well, it comes down to what are you tied with it? So I had a conversation with someone that came at me because we were talking about like physical therapy and yoga, and yoga's bad. And I said, is stretching bad? They're like, no, stretching's good. And I said, so parts of yoga are okay, right? So yoga, it comes down to the intent of what you're doing. Yeah. And then he goes, well, they're doing it to align their chakras. And I said, okay, well, yeah, that's what they call it. You're right.
Man, I do it to align
my back.
Yeah, I do. When I go there,
Jesus.
Like my healing's even better. Like it's because I'm opening, like I can feel my stretching, and I try to get in there at least. I try to do once a week, but I'm lucky to make it once a month. But dude, ever since I've been doing that, like through my hip flexors and stuff, because I don't do a lot of stretching, so that makes me like have to do something intentionally for an hour. And dude, I'm sitting them old ladies, man. Oh my goodness, man! I start stretching out, and I'm just like, man, I'm feeling blood flow to spots I haven't felt, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, man. Oh, then I get gains from it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're not. I mean, you're not doing the spiritual aspect of yoga as far as reaching out to some weird god to ask him to heal your groin.
Yeah, no, man.
But then you have this. So
I'm just trying to stretch, right?
So yeah.
Let's just call it stretching class then, if you want to.
So in the conversation, he says, "Oh, they're doing it to get their chakras aligned." And I said, "Okay." I said, "So they're doing something formational that I would agree with. That they're doing it to a deity that exists, but that's not good, right? If they're doing it full in." Right.
I mean, if I walked into a class that was like, we're going to the whatever, something of some deity to.
I'm talking about true.
Like, y'all tripping.
I'm talking about true yogi master yoga, not the crap you do at the Y with fucking fans blowing on you. I'm talking about the weird spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what he's talking. He's not talking about Y yoga and Pilates.
Yeah.
So, but he says align the chakras. Okay. So it's something formational they do to align what they think is good spiritual things. So how do we not do that? As Christians, we read, pray, meet, share. Those are formational spiritual things. If you do it in a formational way that's like guided and, I don't know what, like outlined, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not a bad thing. In fact, it puts you in a formation. So just like at service on Wednesday, we got on our knees. That's not something we normally do at Mary Mag, but we did it. And I think about those things. I've been in other places where you'll see people face down on the floor, sure, but why not do that at home, right? Why not when I go in the prayer closet right there? Yeah. Do I not get on my knees and pray? I sit in a comfy chair. There's formation involved in it. So now to go with the chakra thing, you're reaching out for a spiritual thing that exists that's not good, and then our formational counterpart would be body, mind, soul, spirit, strength.
Right? Wouldn't God just align your chakras? I guess if you're going to look at it like that, wouldn't God be aligning your chakras?
Okay, well, I think that using the term chakras to talk about those things is a poor choice of words to use because it leads to the new age stuff, but that's just like breath work.
Well, yeah, but chakras wouldn't be new age, though. That'd be like old age stuff, man. The chakras been around. You have to do the research on it, but how long they've been doing that?
I have.
Yeah, like for a long time, man.
The reason it gets attributed to a new age theology is that it's making a huge comeback on a very, very large scale. And it has infiltrated other big Christian denominations and non-Christian denominations, such as Mormonism, Christian Scientology, all this stuff. All of them have incorporated some form of yoga. right? And now all of a sudden they call it yoga when 1,000 years ago they would have called it something else.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have called it chakras in the Christian church, right? But and if you want to look at a parallel, which happens all the time, it's just like the argument of Christian Christmas is pagan. Whatever, dude. Call it pagan. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
I know what is pagan. 4th of July is pagan. It's not a Christian holiday. We try to attribute it to that. So when I go and the minimal yoga I do, and I don't even do it very often now because I haven't been working, but it does when I'm stretching, does it release something? Yeah, of course it's releasing endorphins and dopamines and all these really good things. Is that a good time to meditate? Absolutely it is. That's a great time to meditate. Now, what am I meditating on? And then what's my purpose behind it? That's where it gets slippery, right? What's your purpose behind your stretching? If your purpose is yogi style yoga with a spiritual guru master, then I think you're missing the point, right? As a Christian, if you're doing those things, you're way, way off base. I'm just saying, that's me. I would die on that hill. So am I looking for a spiritual alignment? Yeah, absolutely I am. Would I label that as chakras? No, I think that's just a poor choice because it goes to that theology. To me, that's very not Christian. You know how I feel about certain words.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I do. I get it. Well, yeah, because I have people that tell me, like, even me, they say that what I'm doing, they would totally disagree with it. Like me going to the Y yoga for once a week or once a month. I have people tell me that I shouldn't do that. That's I don't know.
I'm less concerned about.
They say it's evil
because they attribute because of the word yoga.
Yeah, I just
and
don't
what
see
it should just be called is fancy stretching.
I just don't see it.
I would be way more concerned for myself to encounter people that I don't. That I would be more worried about temptation.
Well, even
than
like
I would
even
physical temptation like lust or something.
Yeah. Well, nah, but
and I would be what they're teaching there on a script because they're not. They're saying, okay, try to relax your body. Think about go to your happy place. Well, my happy place is
Jesus for me.
Jesus. Like I'm walking in a garden. My happy place that I created for my contemplative prayer is a physical place that existed in my life. It was my grandparents' house, and it starts the same way every time. I'm in bed in the room that I slept in, and I wake up, and the first smell I experience is breakfast, and I come down the stairs, and sometimes that room's totally empty. Breakfast is always cooking, though. It's weird, no grandma. Sometimes when I come down, like literally, there is a person sitting at the table. I recognize that it's Jesus. I don't see a face or anything. Yeah. And there's a conversation that happens.
I just see like when I go there for yoga, like sometimes after an hour of yoga, like you do get sometimes in like a real meditative 100%. State. But what I do is when I'm in those states, though, even during that, I see God, I see Christ. You know what I mean? Like I feel the Spirit.
So like, a true yogi master,
I'm all like, I feel all that.
Isn't leading you to that God. He's leading you to a false God. The people at the Y aren't leading you to, well, they could be. Secretly.
I don't know.
But it really is just fancy stretching. That's all it is.
Yeah, it just feels good, man. I like the stretching.
And I would never.
It's kind of good too at an hour because you have like an hour of just like kind of silent stretching and kind of like you said,
I still think you should do the goat yoga.
Man, I wouldn't get involved with that, but just because I don't want to go climb around me, man.
They're so cute though. They're so cute.
No shot, dude.
I'm trying to stretch here,
bud.
I don't want to get involved in yoga because I couldn't even get off the ground earlier today.
Yeah, like when I first started, I couldn't even set crisscross applesauce, you know, and now I can.
Put your legs behind your head.
Well, I can't do all that, but I can set crisscross. I can do that.
What time is it? I gotta go. Church is getting ready to leave.
All right.
I gotta get off here. I love you, dude.
Much love, Ryan.
We'll do this again real soon.
Yeah,
like
one love.
15 minutes.